I would ask everybody out there, everybody that watches this podcast, everybody that embraces the 1%, is this idea. When you go to put your head on the pillow, are you a better person? Are you a better player, athlete, musician? And are you a better student, even at our age? The idea of daily improvement was a foundational piece to my program.
All right, welcome back to the 1% Bttr podcast. Today we have a legend in the house, former head coach of St. Joseph's University, where he led the Hawks to 24 seasons, achieving 7 NCAA tournament appearances and 6 NIT bids. He served as the associate head coach of the University of Michigan, contributing to the team's success over 5 seasons, including a Big Ten title and multiple NCAA tournament bids. Transitioned into broadcasting, providing analysis for Fox Sports and ESPN, and also launched his own podcast, Make a Difference, focusing on leadership and personal growth. A dedicated mentor and educator, deeply committed to community engagement and the development of young athletes. Please welcome the esteemed Coach Phil Martelli. Coach, welcome to the 1% Bttr podcast.
I appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Can't thank you enough. That's in my own words, but how would you describe yourself?
It's a really good question. Husband, Judy and I have been married for 48 years. Can be a challenge sometimes because she's in the Basketball Hall of Fame and I have to pay to get into the Basketball Hall of Fame. She played at Immaculata, won 3 national championships. We met at a basketball camp. We are truly a basketball family, have been for a very, very long time. Father of 3. My son Phil is the head coach at Bryant University in Rhode Island. My son Jim is an assistant coach at Penn State. And my daughter Elizabeth is a 4th grade school teacher at Bridgeport Elementary in Bridgeport, Pennsylvania. 10 grandchildren, the oldest being a freshman in high school. Philip Stephen plays at Bishop Feehan High School and is a freshman there, down to a 3-year-old Colin, who is a preschooler. And following them and going to their games has been a real joy since I came home. I love that description of being community engaged. I do believe that it's all of our challenges to share the gifts that we've been given, and I've been given plenty in memories and relationships. And then you have to go back and share them with the idea of like touching one person. If I could touch one person a day, make their day a little bit better, make their quality of life a little bit better. I don't have all the answers, but I do have the ability, as we all do, to listen and to as best we can comprehend what they're going through. Until you've been in somebody's shoes, you can't say I get it, because I don't. And if I can each night put my head on the pillow and say I'm a little bit better person and I've impacted someone, then I've had a great day. Not a good day, a great day. Broadcasting has been fun. I love the prep. I love preparing. The Make a Difference campaign is all over with corporate talks, school district talks, student population talks. I've always valued the idea of being in the public. I always felt that my jobs as a basketball coach were to coach my current team, recruit my future teams, but then to represent my school in a positive fashion. And that meant if somebody invited you somewhere and they thought you could make that difference, then that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go to as many places as I could with the idea of my team being first, my recruiting being second, and then my representation of the school being third. For a long time, I kept it like that, Chuck, and to be honest with you, I probably put my family fourth, but my family got a lot of positive opportunities, wonderful opportunities, life-changing opportunities because of my doing the first three things.
Right.
Later in my career at St. Joe's, I flipped it to make sure that it was family. Because at the end of the day, I think that's what you're measured on. What kind of person are you and what kind of family person you are?
Love it. It definitely seems that your children got the bug of leading that way and coaching and mentoring and being in that world like yourself. I want to start with the mental side of the game and just personal growth of how you have been in coaching for these decades, but how have you coached resilience and mental toughness in players, especially when they're facing adversity? Is that something that they already have when they get to you, or is it something that you develop with them over time?
No, they have to have some degree of it. Now, and I'm not being critical, but we're raising a generation, and it's probably out there now in their adulthood where we've kind of told them everything was going to be all right. That's not necessarily the truth that everything, we hope that everything will be all right, but no one can guarantee that everything will be all right. So what we have to prepare them to do is to face the challenge with this idea. Tomorrow will be better because. Not tomorrow will be better because it's tomorrow or that this storm has passed, but what can you take from your current situation and the idea of daily improvement? That was my biggest thing, whether as a player, at a camp, in doing a school talk. I would ask everybody out there, everybody that watches this podcast, everybody that embraces the 1%, is this idea. When you go to put your head on the pillow, are you a better person? Are you a better player, athlete, musician? And are you a better student, even at our age? The idea of daily improvement was a foundational piece to my program.
Yeah.
Let's get a little bit better. And if this experience, every experience that you have is not a loss and a win. Every experience that you have is an opportunity for growth. You have to embrace it, accept it, and attack it in order for that growth to occur.
Yeah.
You are not going to wake up tomorrow, Chuck, and be the same as you are today. You're not. You're just not going to, that's just not the way it works. And certainly in the world of athletics, if you think staying the same is good enough because somebody told you you were a ninth grader and you played varsity basketball and somebody said to you, well, you're good enough. Well, no, because you know what? At the next school and at the next school in the next county, in the next state, there's a ninth grader who had not only played varsity, but he started varsity. And then at the next state, there's a guy that didn't even, maybe he started, but he made all state or he made all league.
Right.
So you have to be focused on daily improvement. The caveat is you cannot just say improvement and then everybody kind of goes along until they hit a road bump and then they'll say, you know what, it's too hard. Right. But if you can focus on daily improvement, like for parents or grandparents out there, if you were to speak to your children, your grandchildren, and they say, I don't know how to get better as a person. Well, here's a suggestion. When they go to school the next day, say hello to one person that you haven't said hello to all year long. Just say hello. Just say hello. And they're like, oh, you know, I don't know. It's not the cool I don't have interest. No, just say hello. Right. And then you've improved. Young people out there that want to become, everybody raise their hand. Would you like to be a better student? Yes, I would. Okay. What are you reading? Do you read 10 minutes a day? What does reading do? Quiets down a noisy world, improves your vocabulary, and that whole idea of improvement. That to me is whether it's coaching sales, whether it's coaching basketball, whether it's coaching choir, whether it's whatever that is, a
Finding
foundational
ways.
piece has got to be daily improvement. That's what I
Yeah.
focus on.
Yeah, it's so pivotal in anybody's growth. And I think the biggest thing focusing on daily improvement too is it builds momentum. And momentum, even though we can't see it, it's very real. And building on that, whether it's doing anything like you mentioned with reading, how intentional are you doing with that? Slowing yourself down in a world that is constantly moving at a very fast pace now with technology, which there's many positives with it, but there's also negatives to where can you quiet your mind and focus on what you need to do to improve yourself? And instead of worrying about somebody else, sometimes worry about yourself and how you can better yourself. The other side of that improvement is this role of failure. And failure is often looked at as a negative, but as you know, it's a prerequisite for success for anybody to become successful. When you were coaching, how did you coach players on to embrace this failure and make it part of that learning process that you were speaking of?
Well, I'm not a cliche guy, but it always a couple different veins. Yes, we've all been knocked down.
Mm.
If you haven't been knocked down, you haven't been trying, right? But you haven't been knocked out. And in basketball terms, like this time of the year when people start talking about March Madness and state tournaments and league tournaments and who's in and who's out, the idea of this must win, well, that's only true in your last game of the year. Because if you don't win your last game of the year, they're collecting your uniforms. So then that team, that phase of your career is done.
Mm.
So to me, the idea of not just block out the noise, but have your own noise in your mind about what is it, and how do you measure success for yourself? If we're always chasing the outside standard, we're not going to get there because they're just going to move the goalposts. And I'm not being critical, but the goalposts will keep moving. There has to come a point in time where you trust yourself enough that I've done the work, and the result will be the result. Not laissez-faire, but an approach that would be, what are your foundations? What are your foundations? So for a player to be lifted, I often felt it had to be with go do the work.
Yeah.
Go do the work. Go out there. Fear not failure, but go do the work. And as long as it's directed and direct work, directed and direct, then the sun will come up tomorrow.
Preparation leads to proper execution is a term that I love to use with my reps that I coach. And there's a great story that I actually heard from you about your first practice at Bishop Kenrick. And it was over 3.5 hours long. And by the time it ended, you thought that to yourself, and even when you went home that night, man, how am I going to continue to coach these kids? I just coached them on everything that I felt that I knew. Obviously, that wasn't the case, and you came back for more. What strategies did you use for yourself in the day-to-day to keep yourself mentally sharp and motivated after
Great point.
decades in coaching?
Great point. Organized. Organized. I have this statement that I make in my corporate talks is, no one wants to follow someone who doesn't know where they're going. And I use the example of your grandfather, right? Your grandfather would get in the car and he would drive your father and your uncles and your aunts, and he never looked at a map. He never did. But he used landmarks to get there. So all of us have landmarks in our lives, right? Might not be a Sunoco station, might not be a convenience store, might not be a drugstore, might not be a church where he knew he was going to make his turns, but he had his landmarks. So to everybody out there, your landmarks will keep you organized. So you bring up the idea of how do you keep yourself calm, or how do you keep yourself focused, or how do you keep yourself motivated? Well, if you get up every day and you have your landmarks and you follow those landmarks, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't be spontaneous at times, shouldn't go off the tracks, but I'm talking about like every single day when you get up and you take your sheet and say, I know where I'm going to be at 11 o'clock. So because that was a landmark, on this day in particular, I didn't start doing something at 10:30 that will say, oh, I'll have to put that aside. No, at 11 o'clock, this is what we were going to do. So everybody out there, you organize in your own particular way. But I think if you organize your thoughts, you organize your concepts, you organize your mind, then you go to your day, then you avoid frustration. You avoid chaos, and you avoid confusion and the uncertainty. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. Now it's not going to work out. I mean, I shouldn't even say may. It's not going to work out every single day. But as long as those landmarks are there and I can follow those landmarks, how did I recover? And I know the date, October 15th, 1979 was the first high school practice. And that whole year I kind of scrambled and wow, what? And because I could never settle in, I therefore had a team that didn't make the playoffs. It was not their fault. It was my fault. And then going forward, I already was a friend, Kathy Rush, who's a Hall of Famer, Immaculata College. She talked to me about a plan. Let me see your monthly plan. Let me see your daily plan. Let me see your practice plan. And then that day forward, I never went on a basketball court. Never went on a basketball court without my whole script. And at the end of that, there was never uncertainty. I was wrong. Obviously, I lost game, but I was wrong in the plan that I put forth, but I was not uncomfortably nervous because I didn't have a plan in place. I had a plan. And then it was up to me to make sure that plan was executed. I think that we all have that in every day.
Yeah.
What is your plan for your day, and how are you going to execute it?
Yeah. I think it's so important to the plan that you're speaking about. Even the day before, I have to prep for my oncoming day, the day before, but also God bless you, and then the week even to come as well, to make sure that I am organized. And I find that organization and that plan that is in process allows me to be more creative within those confines when I do have this regiment that I'm going through of when I'm doing certain things. Then I can bring out that creativity. Then I can bring out that curiosity and start asking more questions, because I know when I'm in a certain mindset, I can go there. Shifting over to coaching and leadership, you speak about the do's and don'ts of practice. There's a lot of them. I've been through them myself as a player, but also now as a coach and somebody that is in leadership, not even just in basketball, but what are the most critical do's and don'ts in practice that coaches at all levels, not just at the collegiate or even professional, but also even in the business world, what are those do's and don'ts that most should focus on?
Have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Because the plan, like, it has a ripple effect. A plan indicates to others that you're comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah.
Number two, a plan does not waste time. We talked earlier about how chaotic this can be. And we choose to make the chaos, right? We'll say, well, I have to get my grandson to this game, and then I'll shoot over there and see my and are you taking time to, cherish that moment in time? So we don't have the right, as leaders, as mentors, as teachers, as coaches, as parents, we don't have the time to waste anybody else's, you don't have the right to waste anybody else's time, because being on time is the ultimate sign of respect. I can't spend your money, right? I can't spend anybody's money. I don't have the right to your money. It's yours. Well, then you don't have the right to my time. So don't waste it. If this is what the window it's going to be in, yeah, is there flexibility? Is there business time? Sometimes it's different than regular time. Somebody says, yeah, let's have a sales call at 10 o'clock, and they'll say, hey, I need 15 minutes here or there. Yeah, you get it. But to me, having a plan and executing your plan.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is to measure your words. Like not cautiously, and not that you're trying to hide anything, but you just want to make sure that your words matter. And that sometimes we will say something off, particularly being from this area, we'll say something off the cuff or offhanded, and it's meant to be funny, but the other people might not take it as fun. So you have to make sure that you measure, you're concise with what you're saying. And that, for instance, in coaching, everybody out there who has ever coached, and again, could be coaching sales, could be coaching basketball, will always say to somebody, let's do that one more time. No one has ever done anything one more time.
Never.
You do it multiple times. Always. Right? You do it multiple times. And what you're doing is you're chopping away at your credibility and the trust that you need to build with those that you're working with. Because then they'll go, here we go, roll their eyes, and this means we're going to be here 15 more minutes or 20 more minutes. Yeah. Eliminate that. All those that coach, eliminate that idea of one more time.
Where should they start with that?
Where should they start with it?
Yeah.
Would be, we would like to finish this on a positive. Let's go with one really solid, we're prepping for a talk. All right. And then take it. That's it. We did it. We did it. And now what you do, and I think it's a big deal in coaching, is make sure that you regroup. Don't just rush into your next thing. Take the moment just to regroup and say, was it the way I present it? Was it my terminology? Is this concept just flawed? But oftentimes when we get these positions, we turn around and say, well, they're not doing this right. Well, there is no there. It's a we. That we concept. And the other factor of practice preparation is, I think we need to make it competitive. I think no matter what we do, and I'm saying, hey, you're number 3 salesperson, you got to get up to no, but we have to make it competitive, that we say, I went to the nth degree of my ability.
Yeah.
But now there's somebody that is nth squared above me. Well, what can I learn from that? I think every day we have to learn, and every day we have to teach, no matter what our title, no matter what our station in life. All of those things come together in terms of how would I lead, or how would I teach, or how would I prepare a practice. All of those things fit.
That student of the game mentality, regardless of what you're doing, whether it is a sport or even life itself. You've spoken about this teach, execute, compete philosophy that you've emphasized. How do you implement that in a player development, not just yourself, but them taking it on and really holding it tight to their heart? And how do they then make that a part of their daily routine as a player?
Perfect. I use this example. I think if you're going out there on your own to work on your golf swing, to work on your presentation skills, I think you have to sit there and say, I have a plan. Now, I don't mean like a plan, I'm going to use this joke at this time. No, I'm talking about a plan. You know what, Chuck? We're going to talk for 40 minutes. But I already know that. Like these 40 minutes, that's my plan for these 40 minutes. And you can decide to micro it down. And that's what I did with basketball practices. All of my segments were 4, 8, or 12 minutes. But I already had the plan. Here's what we are going to accomplish today. And we're going to accomplish it in an hour and 50 minutes. So there's the plan. Now, the second part of that is you have to have a healthy ego, not an out of control ego, not a maniacal ego, but you have to believe that your plan is the best plan. So if I was coaching Bishop Kenrick, when I was coaching Bishop Kenrick, I went into every day saying, I'm better than Bill Fox and Father Judge. How am I going to get there? Well, I'm going to execute my plan. Right? I believe my product is better than Abbott's. Well, why? Because of the plan. Because of the way that I can present this. Not fluff, not smoke and mirrors, but you can touch your plan, you then execute your plan, and then you measure your plan. So here you are. You come to me and you're a ninth grader. You're a first-year salesperson. I'm spending 10 hours a day making cold calls. Well, I would look you in the eye and say, you're wasting 9 hours? You're wasting 9 hours. Let's put those 9 hours to better use, right? I had a player come into me as a freshman. He said, Coach, I'm really working hard. I'm in the gym 4 hours a day. I said, you're in here 3 hours and 20 minutes too long. Would you follow me if I gave you a plan for 40 minutes? And would you do this plan? And then when you get antsy about it, where you've accomplished it, we'll regroup and we'll come up with another drill, another set of assignments that you can do. But let me take that 3 hours and 20 minutes and let's make you a better student. Let's make you a better friend. Let's make sure that the social part of you is that we're just not just academics and athletics. So to me, it starts with a plan. The execution comes from the confidence you have that this is the right plan. And then the third thing is the measure. So if a salesperson comes to you and said, I want to increase my sales by 1 a week, okay, and then we go 2 months and you haven't gotten 1, not let alone 8 new clients, well, it's time to regroup because the plan is flawed. Let's find out why it's flawed. And that's the way I would do it with players, to say, measure it. So if your dad came to me and said, I want to be a better foul shooter, okay, and then I would come up with a plan, and then we would measure it. Say, okay, you finished your workout, and how many shots did you take? I say this all the time to basketball players. Yeah, I took a lot of shots. Yeah, I'm not interested in how many shots you took. How many shots you make? And let's measure your progress by how many shots you make, because then we can increase that goal. Same with sales. We'll increase it rather than shoot for the moon. Let's get to the stars first.
Yeah, it's so important to have that plan and also measure it. And this goes to the sales world, any professional, and looking at the results and then reverse engineering that process for what results did you get from that? Did you get that extra meeting that you were looking for? Did you increase your points per game by the plan that you put in place? How much time went towards that? And I love how you mentioned, hey, you are spending way too much time cold calling or shooting in the gym or whatever you're doing, where that could be going towards something else, because it comes back to the efficiency side of things too. What are you doing in that time? And it's super important to focus on that, whether you are a player or even a coach, and breaking that down. You put this big emphasis on active listening, and I think this term is becoming much more used in our day and age than it was before. How can people develop active listening if they're struggling with it currently?
The quick answer is to eliminate distractions.
Ooh, love that.
Right? Eliminate distractions. And then going to this concept, have this picture in your mind. In today's world, and I know it can be rougher, but look into the eyes of the person that you're talking to. The eyes tell you what's in the heart. People can't hide that.
Right.
So look into their eyes when you're speaking to them. For yourself, we talked earlier about slowing your world down, cutting the noise. You got to remove all your distractions. Right? So even if it's, when you, where are we going to meet? When I'm doing these corporate or school district talks, a week before I go, I'll say to them, I have I want to do some background. I want to know who's in the room. Give me some titles of the people that are in the room. What's the room layout? Where can I put my notes? Am I going to be able to move around? And when I move around and talk, I'm trying to find one person. Can I catch one person's eye? And I do believe that we have to speak it aloud, though. We have to speak it aloud. Every seminar that you've ever given or that you've attended, we talk to people, we talk to students about we have to improve our communication skills. We have to improve our communication skills. We have to improve our communication skills. So when I hear that, I think you want to hear me talk. And how am I going to present? And am I going to eliminate foul language in my presentation? Yeah, but we're missing a whole boat of communication. An unbelievable, underdeveloped communication skills is the ability to listen. And we have to get back to just listen for a second. Don't formulate what you're going to always be saying. Listen, try to bring it internal, and then respond. Yeah. It's not respond while you're listening. It's respond after you're listening. So to me, as often as possible, and I get in today's world, it's different. As often as possible, make your communication face-to-face, not through a machine. I'll ask this question of young people all the time. How many great friends do you have? Oh, I have 750 likes or what? You're missing my point. You're missing my point. So all communication must be authentic because we're eye to eye. And to me, all communication should be void of distractions. And I'll use this, Chuck. When you went into your classes at Cabrini, the professor was in the front of the class. Yep. You gave respect to that professor by listening, looking, and connecting.
Always. Yep.
When you were distracted and you went for your phone, was that a real life situation? Because when you went to the bank to get your mortgage and this guy was going to lend you $100,000, you did not sit there and look at your phone because you would have lost $100,000. So why is that distraction okay in an academic world? Why is that distraction okay? You have a gathering with people and let's have a, for a term, let's have a dinner party. Well, how in the heck can we have, as a family, go out for dinner and be looking around the table and three of us are like this? Stay at home.
Yeah.
Stay at home. So to me, active listening is not preparing your response. It's literally saying, not only do I hear you, because I can hear a buzz in my house right now. I'm not listening to that, right? So we have to really work on, there's a huge difference between hearing and listening. We must become better listeners.
Such a great point, Coach. And I loved how you said eliminate distractions. And for my reps and people that I work with, they're going to laugh when they listen to this podcast because I repeat it constantly. My team, our team that we have in our department is all remote. So it is a constant reminder of eliminate those distractions because like you said, the phone is right there. The television is right there. You have notifications that are going off on your computer constantly. So how do you get in a state of flow and focus on the task that is at hand instead of jumping around and trying to just do a bunch of things at once?
But that goes back to your plan.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have a desk full of things here and I'm like, yeah, I can, but I have to get to that. But if I was like sitting here saying, man, you know what, that call that I have, that call at 12 o'clock, they're going to want to know, it's impossible.
Yeah.
Don't do things half-assed. Be all in on what you're doing at that moment in time. Family time, personal time, coaching time, go all in.
Love that. Being respectful of your time for sure. I could talk hoops with you all day. And that was the thing with this, preparing for this is, man, how do I condense these questions? I have so many that I want to ask Coach. But wrapping up here, I want to ask you a fun question here. When it comes to basketball minds, if you could have dinner with any three basketball minds, past or present, alive or passed away, who would they be and why?
Well, I would make it like a big gathering. You know, the first people that I would reach back to would be my grade school coaches, 3 guys, my high school coaches, and my college coach. And I would want to thank them for laying the groundwork. And I'd like to share with them what they gave me. They gave me this curiosity. And I'd like to ask them certain questions about, did I misinterpret, are they proud of me? Because I do feel that we all represent those that have come before us. Could be a 3rd grade teacher. But I would love to visit with my former coaches. That would be really interesting to me. And then I think I would extend that to former players. And I have thoughts in my mind as to, like, this would be like a no holds barred come in. What did I miss for you? What did I miss? You know, the players who I don't have contact with. And I would like to say, what did I miss? What did I miss? And then there would be other players that I would say it would be a thank you. Thank you for all that you've given my family and I. Yes, material goods, but also thank you for the education that you gave me that allowed me to be better. That's where I would go. And I'm not minimizing coaches. I there's so many people that I enjoy, but because the intimacy of being coached and then coaching, those would be people that I would like to connect with.
I think that's such an amazing answer because, granted, there's so many amazing coaches that you have coached against and learned from as well, but just also the people that have laid the foundation for you and helped create you into the amazing coach and leader that you've been through the years. There's so much that I even can take away from that answer that I want to implement in my day-to-day. Coach, can't thank you enough for coming on the 1% Better podcast. I know this is going to be an unbelievable episode for listeners, both in the athletic world, but also in the business world as well. I just want to thank you again for your transparency, your dedication to the community, and everything that you've done through the years and made me have some amazing moments watching the game of basketball, and also your camp that you used to run at St. Joe's. Some of my fondest memories that me and my buddies, as you mentioned, your friends, that were groomsmen of mine, even that we still talk about to this day. Those overnight basketball camps that we used to have, and it was an absolute honor to be a part of it.
Well, thank you. My best to everybody, and thank you for what you're doing. We're out there making a difference. That's a big deal.
Yep, absolutely. Last thing, where can we follow you? Where can we support you and everything that you do?
Well, I put out a Martelli Minute every day on Instagram, Phil_Martelli. That's the Martelli Minute. Goes out about 6:30 every day. And today's was winners separate themselves by doing what others often refuse to do. And then every day something goes out And then the podcast is Make a Difference podcast. The corporation is P&J Enterprises, Make a Difference. I'm ready, willing, and able to go anywhere to talk with people, not at people, talk with people. And the podcast has been a joy because we do try to take it into another direction other than basketball. Where you find it, my nephew knows that stuff. We come every week, and we've had the likes of Gino Auriemma and Tom Izzo and Hunter Dickinson, and we had the Catholic League and Public League champion coaches this week. And in April, May, June, we're going back to the community. We're going to get community leaders to tell us and help us make a difference. So I appreciate the plug, and looking forward to continuing to grow the business. And meanwhile, it is true that I've retired. I haven't retired like some of your relatives have retired, where it's 6 or 7 days a week meeting on the first tee. But I love what I'm doing.
Yep. And I'll make sure to include all those links in the bio here for you, Coach, and we'll definitely be supporting which way we can. And thank for everybody for listening to this episode of 1% Better, and we look forward to seeing everybody on the next one. Take care.